Harry exposed his evil intentions. Everything he said was false. Just one small action by Prince William made Harry expose everything. Harry makes everybody bored and doesn't want to talk about it. We will reveal specifically how in this video. Welcome back, we are Kate Middleton and the Queen YouTube channel. In the past, Prince Harry has talked about his worries over his family's safety in the UK, but the heir to the throne, William, reportedly enjoyed a trip that was incredibly normal. He even got to go out to the pub in North Norfolk last weekend with his mother-in-law, Carol. Meanwhile, Harry has made it obvious that he's worried about his wife and two children's safety, but it certainly begs the question, how on earth can the heir to the throne go about doing normal things, but Harry's so scared of doing the same when he's in the UK? Well, let me answer that question for you. Of course, Prince William enjoys a normal life because he's down to earth, he's low-key, he's respected, he's loved by so many people. He didn't walk away from his family and his country. And Harry's afraid because he knows he's abandoned everybody and he tried to ruin his own family. So Harry, let me let you in on a little secret. The truth is, security people cannot guarantee your safety. Now, they do reduce the risk, certainly. If somebody wants to get you, though, they're going to find a way. A few suggestions I have. Don't do anything to draw attention to yourself. Now, don't go bragging about deeds of daring and killing people. Just live a normal, quiet life without all the glitz and the glamour and attention. Try to become a nobody. And really, these rules go for the entire family. Harry is also not relevant, he's not needed, and he's not wanted, and that's why he's worried over nothing. Now, if Meghan believes that she's not going to be welcome, maybe the reality of what they have done has really finally hit them. I mean, it's one thing to go after a pop singer or a movie star, but it's another thing when they're trashing the royal family. It just shows how much thinking went on in those heads of theirs before they started making all these ridiculous claims. But they're going to have a very difficult time erasing what we have seen over the past few years. It's all out there. It's on paper, it's on tape, it's in the cloud. And it can easily be pulled out and played at any time and also proven to be false and inaccurate. So I hope they can find a base in the US that is financially secure because there's no way they're going to be able to return to Britain. You know, William also didn't talk about killing people and acting like they were chess pieces when he was doing so. Harry's gonna worry about where and when for the rest of his days, and he's also worried about being embarrassed by all the booing, but he's gonna hide behind his security forces, no doubt. So Harry and Meghan need to stay far away, and then they won't have any problems. The truth is, Brits don't want them in the UK. They need to realize that. We also really can't compare Harry to William. William didn't write a book, he didn't lie about his family members, he didn't talk to reporters, he didn't do TV interviews like Harry did. Harry told so many lies about the royal family, and these things are easily fact-checked on the internet. What was he thinking? There is a cause for all Harry's worries, and that cause is himself and Meghan. Now, William, the Prince of Wales, and Mrs. Middleton, Carol Middleton, they didn't have any security worries. Harry, on the other hand, has a lot to worry about after his betrayal of his family and the country too, by walking away from the responsibilities that he formerly seemed to enjoy as the nation's favorite young prince, in spite of his many indiscretions. So Harry, he painted a target right on his back in a pathetic attempt to get people to pay for his security. The fact is, it doesn't have anything to do with threat level. Instead, it has everything to do with privilege and prestige. William, though, is Prince of Wales, so he already has the prestige. He's next in line to the throne. Harry, though, has to use these big gas-guzzling SUVs, a whole motorcade, because he's got to show everybody how important he is. The truth is, most Brits respect and admire William. Harry, though, absolutely not. And it would also be naive to believe that the prince and his mother-in-law didn't have security people with them. I'm sure they did. But they probably were careful to keep their distance because, well, they don't want to look tacky. And I'm sure Carol Middleton has been a stronger and more valuable influence on William. She's an amazing mother, and she's an amazing support system. His birth mother, no, she relied on him way too much for her emotional health. So Harry has every right to be scared. I think the simplest solution is just to leave Meghan Markle and the Invisible Children in California. If he feels he's got to be there for the Invictus ceremony in May, then he needs to get ready to pay for his own security. Now, to keep the cost reasonable, it's recommended he quickly leave. He shouldn't stay in the country any longer than absolutely necessary. And it looks like Harry still doesn't have it through his thick ginger skull that people don't care about him. He's irrelevant, and he doesn't realize that yet. Harry, please wake up. Up to this point, the British people have put up with a lot, and they're sick and tired of all of Meghan and Harry's demands. Sometimes it seems like Harry and Meghan want something bad to happen to them so that they can be proven right. In their minds, it's going to make them a lot of money, and that's all they really care about. This whole idea of danger, though, has been severely exaggerated by those two. They're just always looking for attention. The book published with some unfortunate claims of kills and how it's phrased, that caused a lot more problems, and the working royals just quietly going about their business. And the Princess of Wales, when she feels well, she also heads to the pub with fellow parents of her kids' school friends, and there's no fuss. But then again, neither she nor William have ever bragged about killing people, calling them chess pieces. Catherine can even pop into a pub while she goes out shopping with Charlotte for a little break, and when the patrons are asked not to take photos of them, they don't. Meghan Markle, though, she has the paps on speed dial. She would have called them up before she went to let them know where she was going to be. And of course people care about William. He is 10 times the man Harry could ever wish to be. I'm sure Meghan put him up to this. It seems like she lives in a fantasy world. They have made themselves into victims, so they can never live normal lives. All the time they've got to have bodyguards with them, photographers following them wherever they go, but the dangers only exist in their heads. William and Harry could not be more different. William's not desperate for media attention, and he's able to live an ordinary, normal life. Meghan and Harry, on the other hand, they're desperate for media attention, and it seems like they're always being followed by hired paparazzi, photographers. They draw as much attention to themselves as possible, on purpose. A great example is rolling down the window of the car when being driven through London. And if that wasn't crazy enough, waving to the people standing on the side of the road, and it was all photographed, of course. Harry lives in the US, and look, our country has some problems. There are more guns than people. But does he have all these security people following him around all the time in the US? If so, why can't he bring them along with him? And then at least he can satisfy his paranoia, and he's going to pay for them. He has to do it in the States already, so what's the difference? And if not, okay, what's the issue then? Taxpayer money should be going to the National Health Service, not to armed protection guys for a non-entity like Harry. Now, perhaps the biggest risk to Harry, if he returns, is to face a negative reaction from the public because he's so unpopular and so despised. Now, this situation, though, is all his fault. We can say that what Harry needs most right now is some good education. With all his money, surely he can pay for a private tutor so that he can learn something. But apparently he has an incredibly low IQ. He failed in school at Eton, and he failed in military exams, so he's gonna struggle. He has a very short attention span. The only thing he really has is his title. He doesn't have anything else. Meanwhile, Meghan Markle, she only wants free royal security in the US, and this can't be achieved unless, of course, they reinstate their IPP status in the UK. But like she always does, she's got to hide her real agenda by making up lies about feeling so unsafe in the UK. Not only that, but Harry and Meghan act like they're so far superior to everybody else. And that's why they're always making up lies to get attention. It's the only way they can make any money. Meghan, though, is not wanted or needed in the UK, or really anywhere else, to be fair. Harry and Meghan don't only want security. They want all the attention that goes along with it. They want the crowds, they want the fanfare, they want these big security guys walking behind them as they're strolling around. William probably had his security at the pub, in and around it. He just doesn't make a big show out of it, because William is low-key, and that's the important thing to understand here. And honestly, I can't make up my mind whether or not I should be bothered at the hypocrisy I see with Meghan and Harry. It's no wonder that they're going to be unwelcome in the UK. They consider the population of Britain to be just beneath them. This kind of attention-seeking behavior may be okay for Harry and Meghan, but most citizens of Britain do not think it's okay. So William is a real royal, and he's not scared of everything. William is a natural royal, and then Harry's just a wannabe. He's got to look over his shoulder all the time because he told lies about what he did to Taliban members. And he is not wanting just any security, but full royal family security. Well, Harry, if you had just stayed on as a working royal, you could have had that. You were the one who wanted to leave, and so of course, you also left the perks along the responsibilities. Short-term gains, but long-term, he's going to understand where it all went wrong. He is desperate for this connection to the royal family, but that is getting more tenuous by the day. So in conclusion, as far as I'm concerned, and I'm sure many people are going to agree, Harry and his family are not only unimportant, they're also irrelevant. And I'm sure Meghan Markle is pushing this agenda. She's the one who pushed him into stepping down, and then Harry decided to brag about killing 25 people, so he needs to deal with the consequences. Maybe he should have listened to William's advice. From now until the end of their lives, they're going to be despised by the British people and other people all around the world. Harry and Meghan have confirmed that they will indeed return to the UK, but recently Meghan is said to have changed her mind, and she doesn't want to come back to the UK because it's not going to be safe for her invisible children. And this is making people ask some big questions about Meghan's attitude, and also seek the truth about those unauthenticated kids. We will update these issues in this video. Be sure to watch the whole video, and don't forget, we are Kate Middleton and the Queen YouTube channel. After the exact time and date of their appearance were made public, Meghan Markle apparently started to reconsider the idea of coming to the UK because, supposedly, she doesn't feel like it's safe for her kids. Now, reportedly, Harry is begging Meghan to reconsider her stance, begging her, "I don't want to do this alone." It had been expected that Meghan and Harry would attend the Invictus Games' 10th anniversary celebration at St. Paul's Cathedral on the 8th of May. Recently, reportedly, Harry is more excited than ever to mend things with his family. But for Meghan, she's less sure about spending more time in the UK. Well, okay, maybe I can help her a little bit by letting her know that nobody cares. Meghan, just stay put in Montecito. Nobody wants you to come to the UK anyway. And how ridiculous is it that they think they wouldn't be safe in Britain? I mean, come on, just don't bother coming if you're that worried. All this is doing is keeping her name in the news, but that's exactly what she wants. And she thinks that America is the safest place on earth? I mean, is this so they can get the taxpayers to pay for that security? Of course it is, because they believe themselves to be so important. When is somebody gonna finally stand up and sort them out once and for all? And what children are they even talking about? In the recently released video snippet, that little boy doesn't even resemble earlier controlled images of Archie Fishel. In fact, he's a lot younger than the current biological age of the child presented to the world in that christening photo, which now, of course, has been revealed to have been a heavily edited composite. There's just really not enough evidence of Harry actually being the father of 2 grandchildren of the king. So he has had government lawyers in the US acting on his behalf, asserting in a US court that the contents of his book may not really be true, but instead it could just be fiction that he published in order to curate a specific image of himself. So what is going on with this strange little family that Harry has created out of that expensive royal wedding that Meghan Markle used to generate a lot of income for herself? I mean, there's really no need for them to come to the UK. The members of the royal family who want to see them can easily go visit them in the US. And as for Invictus, I think a video call would be more than enough. And let's talk about this claim that Meghan Markle is worried about the safety for her 2 children. Come on now, she's just worried about being booed. They're desperate for money right now. They're running out of it. I mean, this whole online shop concept has completely failed. Doria is no kind of CEO. She doesn't have Kris Jenner's education, discipline, or drive. And Meghan right now, I think, is in a state of extreme desperation. But still, it's important to remember that Meghan is just not capable of holding up her end of a bargain. So anything the monarchy proposes as some type of deal in exchange for a lot of money to Meghan and Harry is going to be ignored. Until the next time, of course, the money runs out. It really is a lose-lose proposition. Meghan Markle is also openly subversive of the Commonwealth, and Harry has been all too willing to comply with whatever she tells him to do. So no, I don't see how anything can be done to just fix this situation. They're gonna need to stop living such an expensive lifestyle. They need to learn to separate their expenses and arrangements. They need to figure out a proper custody arrangement in a credible family court too, so they can finally get divorced, and then they can go their separate ways and reinvent themselves. And I think Harry could be okay. He could make enough money to live well. He could be maybe some type of consultant or perhaps a writing school entrepreneur, but there's no way he's ever going to have enough money to support Meghan Markle. She's way too greedy, and she insists on spending like some kind of Russian oligarch. So maybe Meghan should actually hunt for an oligarch for her next meal ticket. I think that would be a great idea. With enough determination, maybe she could even find somebody with a revived Russian title, and then that would satisfy her addiction to this old world imperial style that comes with no responsibility. But this has nothing to do with the children. Meghan just knows how unpopular she is, how despised she is, and that's why she doesn't want to come. Meghan Markle doesn't want to see the truth about herself, so I think she should just avoid bringing the kids. Just keep this trip short and sweet, or better yet, don't come. I'm sure that at some point in time, if she and Harry really do come to the UK, they're going to be booed. So they need to get ready for that, or just stay home. Now, if Harry and Meghan are really serious about mending fences with the royal family, they need to take care of that before trying to involve the invisible children. Or perhaps Meghan Markle is worried that her children will prefer to live with their cousins and enjoy spending time with the extended family instead of being locked at that Montecito McMansion. I mean, Meghan Markle is always blaming somebody else for her problems. The fact is, she knows she's in for a tough time, and if she ever comes back to the UK, it's not going to be a welcome reception. Harry is also being incredibly selfish, believing that this is the best time to introduce the invisible children to the family. I would say it's about the worst time. Why do he and Meghan always insist on putting themselves first, even over people who are fighting cancer? My God. And I don't think the children would protect them. I think people would still boo them. And every time there is an event, we go through the same nonsense. Will they come? Will they not come? Will one of them come? Will both of them come? Will the kids come? And it's all just to garner publicity for themselves. In the end, you know it's going to be like it always is. The gruesome twosome will show up. They won't want to miss that grand entrance in St. Paul's where Diana got married. Netflix needs the shots, and magazines are going to be bidding for any photos. It is such a slap in the face, though, to choose the centermost venue for this 10-year ceremony. I mean, this is the country, and these are the citizens that Harry and Meghan trashed. And they are also asking the UK to sponsor 2027 Invictus Games with taxpayers' money. Such an insult. And it sounds to me like Archofficial and Invisibet are great excuses for Harry and Meghan whenever they want to avoid anything. It's never the real reason, and it's always just to try to make themselves appear better than what they are, and also to cry victim, of course. I can't believe a thing they say. They've told too many lies. The fact is, the royal family is not interested in patching things up with those two. They've already moved on. As if Harry and Meghan would ever be made welcome anyway. They're just using kids for sympathy, just like they did in the Oprah Winfrey interview. Although, why was Gavin Gringus in that Oprah footage as Archofficial running on the beach? I mean, before that, it was a doll in a pap walk in Canada. But let me reiterate, the kids are not in any danger if they're to come to the UK. And as for Meghan, why would she be in danger? It makes no sense. Has anybody tried to hurt her in the past? I don't think so. I mean, she said that she considered taking her own life, but I don't remember any death threats against her. And she has convinced Harry that she's in so much danger, and the kids are too. And I'm sure if they visited with the children, Charles would make sure they were protected and staying in a royal house. They would be under protection as long as they were associating with any members of the royal family. Meghan Markle doesn't understand how to keep her family together. She doesn't get along with her father. She's not on speaking terms with her half-sister or brother either. And Harry's family, let's not even get into that. So Harry really falls in line with Meghan's divisive behavior. He does whatever he can to make her happy. Eventually, he is going to see the light that she will never be happy. But unfortunately, the damage has already been done. It's also obvious that Meghan Markle has no respect for the monarchy or the people of the UK. She is relentlessly chasing power in any way she can. Her words, her assurances, her promises, they're empty. She's just power hungry. And she's power hungry because that's going to get her some money too, which she also wants lots of. So I won't be a bit surprised if she does try to run for political office, but it's never going to work. I mean, Meghan Markle is convinced that she should be president one day. She really is that delusional. All things considered, every decision Meghan Markle makes is about money and power. And now that they're running out of money because of their overspending, maybe she feels like the supposed issues used to justify their need for a huge personal 24/7 security force is not as important as their need to bring in more money. Netflix is also closing the door in their faces. The royals in the UK would be incredibly foolish to trust Harry and Meghan, and they're not incredibly foolish. All right, guys, have you read Lady C's new book yet? Oh my God. So it's Meghan and Harry, the real story, persecutors or victims. And flipping through the pages, I was shocked to stumble upon page 433. On 433, we get Lady C's account of why Meghan Markle no longer has a relationship with her father. So Lady C uses a very reliable source and tells that Meghan made some very serious false allegations about her father to Harry. Lady C describes it as the kind of breakup, the picture one gets on TV screens or the crackling noises on a radio. And this would seem to be the reason that Harry has never met his father-in-law, and why Meghan can also never go see him again, because that would undermine the story that she told to Harry. If you ask me, Lady C is careful with what she says. Now, time will tell if the Carparkles sue her. If they do, then maybe what she said isn't true. But she's dared them to in the past, and see, I don't think they want to mess with her because they know she's telling the truth. In conclusion, Meghan is an evil succubus, and she always acts for personal gain. So we shouldn't be interested in her or that toxic family of hers and Harry's. It doesn't really matter whether or not they come to the UK. It's not going to change a thing. The royal family is busy with their duties. Some are trying to get well with different priorities. And of course, the citizens have other things on their minds. This is just Meghan Markle paying a lot of money to her publicist, who is pushing this whole psychodrama. It's a lot better for Meghan and Harry to bring their children to see her father, Thomas Markle. After all, he's been begging to see the kids. Meghan continued to make the public angry and indignant when she had a charity trip to a medical facility. I said in the previous video, that decision is taking advantage of images of sick children for PR purposes, and the story doesn't even end there. She also encountered another embarrassing situation. We're going to update and comment on the details of this incident in this video. Welcome back, we are Kate Middleton in the Queen YouTube channel. So during her latest appearance at a children's hospital last month, Meghan Markle suffered quite the wardrobe malfunction. It seems as if her dress ripped and had a hole on the left side close to her waist, and royal fans were pretty quick to comment on her latest wardrobe malfunction. Most of them felt embarrassed, and most of them criticized Meghan Markle's complete lack of class, sophistication, and thoughtfulness. I mean, how tragic though. Meghan Markle seems to have a wardrobe mishap whenever she's seen in public. Sometimes the clothing simply doesn't fit, it's dragging on the ground, sometimes it's all wrinkled, sometimes she forgets to cut off the price tags, and now this, a ripped seam or a problem with the zipper, I don't know. But do we really think any of these kids wanted to view her expensive watch, her jewelry, and her overpriced clothing? Did they even know who she was? Probably not. One of their mothers easily could have come in and read a book to the children, and that would have been much more appropriate than this. She even went so far as to take photos with the children and staff for her own PR purposes, be sure. And I don't see anything about a generous donation either, only the generous time that Meghan Markle offered, even though nobody really wants to spend time with her. Perhaps she took Polaroid photos with the kids and signed them, but probably not, because, I mean, honestly, it's not like some sick child really even cares or knows who she is. And the book that she's reading looks like it's for 2-year-old kids, but those patients are around the age of 8 or 10. They look bored out of their skulls. It just comes across as Meghan Markle using sick children for a random PR stunt, while Catherine's visits, on the other hand, are always related to her role as a patron of a charity. This total lack of taste when it comes to her clothing doesn't look good for Meghan Markle's latest online shopping venture. She's just gonna push some cheap Chinese products like everybody else does. Everything that she's got looks like a cheap knockoff, which is really a shame because I guess designers put a lot of effort into those clothes. Meghan deserves what she's got coming her way, though. I mean, you do reap what you sow. Why would you bother filming a children's hospital visit all dressed to the nines for PR? And when Meghan was at the hospital reading books to those kids, she also broke a big royal family rule in the process by signing an autograph. And I would guess she knew what she was doing. There is a rule that says members of the royal family are not allowed to sign autographs. And as long as she's gonna walk around with that Duchess attached to her name, then she should also follow that rule. And what is wrong with Meghan walking around with a big hole in her shirt? I mean, it's not like she has anybody working for her directly to fix her clothes, so maybe she should have done it herself before she went out. It's crazy though. Nothing Meghan wears, it doesn't matter how much it costs, nothing fits her well. I suspect that she picks an outfit and then she's told that it doesn't actually come in her size, and she says, well, that's okay, give it to me anyway. And the result is always the same. She looks awful. I'm actually curious too if this is really a recent photo. She wore those clothes when it was the late Queen's Platinum Jubilee, and she has lost so much weight since then thanks to Ozempic. So I'm not really convinced that this is what Meghan is claiming it is. But at any rate, we know for sure this little hospital visit is simply another PR stunt to keep her name in the news. As for the wardrobe mishap, well, it's pretty minor in comparison to the way that she's using sick kids for a photo op and calling it a secret royal visit. Meghan Markle will never pass up a PR opportunity, let's remember. And how could it have been such a secret visit if they filmed the whole thing? No, this is just another example of Meghan trying to pretend that she's royal. Seems weird to me too, though, that a camera crew was allowed into the ward. I would think that is certainly a breach of privacy. But Meghan never does anything without a hidden agenda. Going to a children's hospital with cameras, it's not a good look. I mean, what did she think? Had I been a parent of one of those kids, I would have been so upset at this little stunt. These kids are sick, they're vulnerable, they have got to be protected. Why wasn't the hospital doing a better job? And the funny thing is, nobody even knows who she is. Of course, these children didn't know her from Adam. Trying to do fake royal duties is not going to go well in the US because nobody cares about her. I hope they at least got some free food in return for this little photo op. And it is funny to me that she read them a book for toddlers. It just goes to show that Meghan knows nothing at all about kids. And those kids had to sit on those hard chairs during this PR stunt. I mean, that woman is clueless. It's a lot like when she went to that school in Harlem wearing designer clothing to read her stupid book, The Bench, and then give copies to the students, except they weren't really for free. Now, donating money would have been a lot more beneficial. Meghan used children for a PR stunt then, and she's doing it again now. Honestly, though, I'm not even shocked by her behavior anymore. There is no low that's too low for her to sink to. I mean, who wears thousands of dollars of jewelry when visiting a children's hospital? That would be like wearing a wedding dress on a trip to the rainforest. And look, I mean, maybe I'm being old-fashioned here, but considering the fact that Meghan's blouse and her skirt were made from different fabrics, she really should have been wearing a belt. And that also would have covered that little wardrobe mishap. But anyway, I'm sure Meghan's gonna go back to walking in the car parking lots. Even Harry cannot stand her at this point. The only thing she cares about now is PR, and she and Harry will pretend to love each other for photo shoots. But too many people have seen what's really going on between those two. Apparently they hate each other. Apparently people overheard them screaming at each other in Germany and in Canada. And that's why Meghan Markle is never going to come back to Britain, thank God. And it's funny to me how Meghan tries her best to pretend to be a good person in front of other people, but she's not fooling anybody. I mean, we still have only had two queens in the last 150 years, Victoria and Elizabeth. To be the reigning monarch, remember, one must have been born royal and be the oldest child of the last reigning monarch. Well, neither of those applies to Meghan, but that's not going to stop her from dreaming. I read somewhere that Meghan paid $2,700 for that stupid outfit, and the seam had opened up on it. What is wrong with her? I'm sure that if she really paid for it, she would have taken it back and tried to get her money back. But it couldn't have happened to a nicer person. I mean, Meghan can make an incredibly expensive outfit look like she paid $2 for it at the thrift store. But it doesn't really matter what Meghan does to try to make herself seem like a better person. She's not going to change my opinion of her, and I think most people feel the same. Meghan is trying to be an actress, trying to convince people that she's really a caring individual, that she's a humanitarian, but she's not. Has anybody on her PR team got the nerve to tell her that it's not working out very well and she needs to reconsider everything she's doing? She needs to stop it with the lies. She needs to stop it with the one-upmanship, and she needs to stop acting so incredibly spoiled. There's also something fishy about their story and the photos, too. It looks like all of a sudden Meghan Markle put on a little weight. There is another photo of her taken the same day from the side, and she's a lot heavier than we have seen her looking recently. In my opinion, she looks almost exactly the same as she did in that photo of her and two kids that was supposedly taken by Harry at Frogmore Cottage, and that was way back during the late Queen's Platinum Jubilee. Same dress, same weight, so okay, let's forget the conspiracy theories. Is it not odd for Meghan to have photos taken of her with other people's kids when there aren't ever any of her own kids? There's just something weird about this whole photo. Something's not sitting right. And she thinks that she is so good at marketing herself. Oh, yeah, like the time that she went to Uvalde and exploited those poor children. But in the end, karma is coming for her. People are not as stupid and gullible as she believes us to be. She's just a briefcase girl, a mattress actress, a yacht girl. And she's trying to take the whole world for a ride. It ain't gonna work. About $34,000 worth of clothing and accessories, and she still looks like an absolute mess. Doesn't anybody give her fashion advice, or does she just not listen? Does she just think that if you wear thousands of dollars worth of clothes and jewelry and accessories, you're automatically going to look good? Well, Megan, take a look in the mirror next time because you failed. And also, Megan, by the way, please stop referring to yourself as Duchess all the time. It's getting really old. I don't think Megan ever actually looks in the mirror on her way out to see what she looks like. Or does she? And she just believes that she looks good no matter what. But why is it that she cannot wear clothing that fits her? I guess as long as it's designer and costs a lot of money and she can wear lots of expensive jewelry with it, it doesn't matter to her. So let's summarize who Meghan Markle is as a person. Well, she tells us she's a vegan, but she likes to eat beef hamburgers. She wants privacy, but as long as she can have her camera crew and photographers following her all the time. She wants the truth, but she only tells lies. She claims that she is involved in charity, but she just uses other people's work. She doesn't want anyone to know about the skeletons in her closet, but she's going to release secrets for media consumption. And she gets invited by other people to participate in their events, but then turns it into something that's all about her. So, in short, she's a hypocrite and she's also incredibly phony. Well, folks, this is our information and our comments about Meghan Markle having an embarrassing wardrobe malfunction in a 2,700-pound designer dress. What do you think about this issue? We really want to know what you think. Please leave a comment below. And then support us by leaving a like, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Goodbye for now, and I'll be back to see you soon in other videos on Kate